Hi everyone, it's been a while since I've actually kind of done a video, edited, all that stuff, so apologise for that. It's been quite busy, to say the least, so yeah, sorry about that, but hopefully I can post a bit more frequently from now onwards. But yeah, so this video I actually intended to film it like January this year, so I've got a little bit more to add on to the questions. So basically I asked for Q&A questions, and then I got this one which I've never kind of answered before. I've never got this type of question. So it was, how's your walk with the Lord been this year? That was the first part of it, so meaning 2023, because I put up the question for questions in December 2023. So to summarise this, I've got notes here, but summarising it, I would say it was definitely challenging, but it was really amazing. So much growth in faith, to the point of being baptised in November. So it's really been like a big few years, really, because even going into 2023, you're still struggling a lot with stuff, like mental health challenges, particularly anorexia, depression, anxiety, things like that, which I've had depression and anxiety for quite a few years, but with anorexia as well, it really kind of made it a lot more difficult, and general ill health, from February 2022 onwards. So yeah, that was quite a lot of stuff. But in November 2022 I had a really big encounter, which still took me a whole year until I got rebaptised properly, with like genuine faith. It's kind of a little bit complicated to just summarise in this video, so if you are interested in testimony or anything like that, then let me know and I will definitely do a video on it, because it needs its own video. But yeah, basically trigger warning, just to let you know. But this big encounter really changed things for me with my mental health. Started the recovery of self-harm and things like that. So that has really been quite a big point of 2023, where it completely stopped by May, which is amazing. Yeah, so that's been great. It's been over a year clean from all that stuff, so really good. I can't say anything else other than it's amazing. So yeah, so then there's also been a lot more freedom and happiness from last year, like particularly from summer when I stopped. But there was also still the struggle of anorexia still getting stronger, and taking up more. So as I felt a bit more free and was thinking that I was getting I was getting like recovered from more depression side of things, there was still quite a lot of weak points of kind of lack of self-esteem, not a very strong foundation in who God says I am, and yeah, and like how he values me, and how it's different to how the world values women in particular, and things like that. And from past experiences, which again I can talk about if that's anything of interest for anyone. So that kind of started to kind of ramp up a bit more towards like end of summer, again, like, because it was from November, well, before November 2022 it was quite bad, and then I was really trying, after that encounter, really trying to, I guess, do it in my own strength to recover and not have any help from anyone else, or even like try and express my struggles with family or friends. I just didn't want anyone, because I was ashamed of it and things like that. But that made it worse near the end of 2023, so it did cause more struggles. But overall 2023 was just such a big year, growing with God, doing more Bible studies, which I've never really done before, even though I've been brought up in a Christian household, with Christian family all my life. So like kind of doing things myself, reading for myself, having those revelations, it was so important and did lead to overcoming my anxiety of getting up in front of everyone at church, even though they're my family, church family, and love me. I was so nervous about doing that, so that has been a huge milestone, I'd say, as well, in anxiety side. So yeah, that was that one. So 2024, I've kind of broken it up a bit more, because first off, in the early half of the year, with kind of really from my baptism in November, I think it was the 19th of November 2023, anorexia really became quite a big struggle for me. A lot of restriction and over exercising and all that stuff, which kind of got to the point where I'd have to be going to the doctors, and it was just getting dangerous and stuff, as it is. So yeah, so I was diagnosed with anorexia at the beginning of this year, more like February time, which was quite big, because I kind of had recognised that I wasn't eating properly and that it could have been an eating disorder, but having like a professional name to it, and them saying, look, you need help, you need our help, the eating disorders CAMHS team, like saying, just seriously, you need to, this is serious now. Like they were straight up with it and saying, you know, you could die if you keep going, which was just such like a I guess like a, was it like a heart-wrenching moment when you're like, oh my gosh, and you literally, like, you take it back and you're like, whoa, this is how serious it's gotten, and you can see it, and you're like, oh my word, I am actually really struggling, I do need help. So yeah, that was a big part of this year so far. So struggling since 2022 with it, and then to this point where now you're challenged, like basically you're challenging anorexia, which in my opinion is definitely a demonic spirit. I don't care what anyone else says, like, that is my experience. It has been awful, it is disgusting, again, that's just like a whole nother topic, it's awful. So that has been very difficult to go through, but such a big part of growing this year so far. So many big challenges, and questions God's asked me, things to let go of, and things that I'm still working through now, and it's been so big, but it's really been difficult, but it has got a lot easier. And as I'm moving on from CAMHS into kind of adult care, but there's been such a big improvement in my recovery, which is great. And this motivation all from God to really keep going, even when I felt like I just didn't want to do it anymore. I just wanted to give up and not, you know, have to struggle against it and not have to fight and resist anorexia. I was just like, I don't have the strength, I can't. I don't want to do it. I want to just, you know, I don't want to eat or whatever like that. It was just really difficult to get over some points, but he's just kept strengthening and encouraging, and also bringing those convictions, just being like, look, this is how it is, you need to sort this out, you know, and I'm here, I'm helping you through. And he has. It's been really amazing. So that has probably been the biggest part of this year. It's been a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of change in that. And yeah, my family have definitely seen a big change from being in recovery, which is great, and I've felt it. I felt a lot more free again. I feel a lot more like myself fully. And you know, it's just been so amazing to like have those moments where you know, well, even when you're weak, you're strong because Christ's helping you with, you know, all his strength. And that's what, you know, trying to hold on to that has been, you know, just so good to remind myself of it. But yeah, I'm probably going to end up rambling if I keep going about it, but yeah, I hope that makes sense. The second, which also has really impacted the anorexia struggle, has been difficulty with college. So tutors in particularly for months seemed to make everything quite challenging, and the college environment as well, both of those factors, they made me feel low in my self-esteem, like I couldn't do anything, like I was worthless, like I was untalented basically. And I pushed and pushed and pushed, and I was trying all the time to please them, do everything, do the best, to try and get the highest grades I possibly could, to, you know, to prove to them that I could do it when, you know, when they were, you know, making me feel like I couldn't do anything, or, you know, all those kind of things. I keep saying you know, but you don't. I'm trying to explain though, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so in this time, I was really struggling. So I was on a fashion course, doing second year. It's like an equivalent of 3 A levels, and yeah, basically it was so difficult, so tiring mentally and physically, doing all this prep and, you know, working on your own project and self-directing, doing all this stuff and trying to teach yourself how to do the things that realistically you should have been taught by the tutors. But anyway, so yeah, so one time there was a bad incident where, well, bad incident I say, but I was already feeling very nervous and about like their opinions of my work at that point, even though everyone else was saying it was really good, and basically just like they basically just shot me down with that one kind of thing, like knocked me right back in confidence, making me feel like I'd done an awful job, that it was all rubbish and all wrong and all bad and all really negative. But then I kind of walked away from that thinking, I'm so awful, and you know, like it's all my fault, I'm gonna fail, it's all bad and everything. But then I think it was the next day or something, God just reminded me. He was just like, just don't do it to please them, do it to like glorify me, do it, just keep going, do all this to like be proof, kind of thing. So that's what I took hold of in my project. So it was a few days before the photo shoot. My model is a friend from church, yeah, and she was really amazing at doing that. It was her first time modelling. It was really interesting to work with her and people who I hadn't worked with before, who were really supportive, and the photo shoot day I'd been praying for, and it just went so well. And yeah, it was amazing. And from doing it, knowing God's gonna, you know, make this successful, he is, you know, he's here all the time. I'm doing it for him. He's allowed me the skills to make these garments, to the ability to organise this photo shoot and have the opportunity to do an out on location shoot somewhere where they usually don't let you do photo shoots at. All that has been allowed because God's let it happen. So I knew it was going to go well because He's allowing it to, you know, happen so well, and it did. So that was just so amazing, and you know, was able to show the photo shoot as evidence to my tutors to show that I was doing that, and they were kind of surprised, but in a good way, and I was like, yeah, it was really good. So that was just amazing. That's been a really big part of kind of trusting and not giving up and not, you know, trying again. It's just like working at that part in me, not to please other people, not to be looking a certain way, not to be doing certain things for others, but to be doing it for Him and to show Jesus to others. But yeah, then there was getting a job. I was right from last year, last kind of like Christmas time, before Christmas, more like October I think it was looking for a job, and I got offered a job a few hours a week at a Christian shop, which was really, really amazing. So did that, kept doing that, and then I thought it was just going to end after December, like kind of January time, but then they kept me on, and I was like, this is so amazing. I love this, because it was another great outlook whilst going through the difficulty in college and going through recovery and everything like that. It was like a really positive thing to have other Christians who didn't necessarily know all the ins and outs of what was going on outside of work life, but were there as an encouragement, and you know, who pray, and you know, things like that. Just basically perfect workplace that I was looking for. And something that I worried about before, maybe even like I'd say from 2022, when I struggled with my ill health before my mental health got worse, was because of my ill health. I didn't think I would be able to have a job, because I found it so difficult to do anything. Constantly like tired, battling chronic migraines a couple of times a week. It was really difficult, and I just didn't think I'd ever get back to the point of health where I could work, or work pretty much full time. So I was already, you know, kind of a bit stressed and worried about that. But then for this year, from that point, I kept praying for it, and then they offered summer hours, and then I kept praying. I was like, right, Lord, I just want to know what I'll be doing, because I didn't expect them to take me on for like summer, like post summer. So I was, you know, thanking Him for having the summer hours, because that was amazing. But I didn't, you know, expect it to keep going because of the position that I had. So I just was praying and saying, Lord, whenever you need me to move on anywhere else, like, please show me where I should be going. And you know, if I need to be already looking for a different job for after summer, so I can already apply and get interviewed and everything. So I prayed for that for a few days, I think it was, and then I got called in by my boss basically, and said, would you like to do this job, you know, continuing forwards with added responsibility, so like a promotion thing. And I was like, yeah, yes, definitely. I was absolutely buzzing. I was so happy. I couldn't stop smiling. It was so fun. It was just such a like amazing moment because I just couldn't believe it. I was like, well, I could, because yeah, God is faithful, but it was just that kind of moment when I was like, am I actually hearing this right? They want to keep me on, and it's a job where I love it there, and the atmosphere is great, and you know, the customers, you have all sorts of customers who come in, but you can hopefully be that light to them. Yes, it was just amazing, amazing, amazing. So thank you, Lord, for that, because I just couldn't have ever thought of having that kind of job when I was younger, or you know, even back in 2022, and the fact that I'm working pretty much full time now and being well enough and having the ability to do that is just a full on amazing, yeah, testimony, really. So that's great.